Hello and welcome to Platform 6. It's the epicenter of the startup ecosystem here in the city of Tampere. It's located in the center of Tampere in the Tuli business district, and it opened its doors in October 2020. It'll soon be home to more than 50 startups, and it's a great place for startups to plan and network for their activities. We're here today at P6 to meet two startup founders, Sreejesh, who is co-founder and CEO of Exensio, and also Pavel, co-founder of Bamamas, also the CEO, and that's a Tampere University spin-off. Let's go and meet them to find out what being a startup founder is all about. Hi Sreejesh and Pavel, thanks very much for coming to talk to us today. It's great to meet you.
Thank you.
It's nice to meet you too.
Okay, so let's get into the world of startups. So first step, how did you come to be here? How did you come to live here in Tampere? So maybe Sreejesh, if you don't mind starting.
All right, no problem. My association with Finland it's been for a long time because I used to work for Nokia.
Yeah.
And I used to work in Bangalore.
Yeah.
In India, and I had a global kind of a role. So it's that association, started off from a very, very early time. And I used to make it was almost regular that I come here for a month. I either stay in Salo or Tampere or Jyväskylä or Espoo, and so I've been bouncing around these cities for quite some time. And then I got an opportunity in, I think it was 2015 or something.
Right.
That they asked me, hey, would you be interested to join Microsoft Tampere? And there was one more option too, but then I preferred Tampere in that sense. So I said, okay, let's give it a shot.
Great, happy to hear that. And do you know what? It was Nokia, the mobile phones, that brought me here as well.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, so small world.
And with them I visited Bangalore. We can talk more about that later.
All right,
so,
you should.
Yeah. All right, great to hear. And Pavel, so how was your journey here?
I arrived to Tampere as a student. So
Great.
I came for Erasmus exchange program.
Yeah.
It was just for 10 months. And I arrived to Hervanta.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, am I going to stay here 10 months? And yeah, you see, now it's 7 years roughly. I'm in Tampere, so it took a while. So it was the first student.
Yeah.
Then I changed to a graduate master studies.
Terrific.
And start working at university. And that was pretty much the step towards Bamamas, the company that I...
So that's a great thing to hear, great story. So it's a real good example of study and stay, I guess. So and Tampere has a certain stickiness as well to it, I would say.
Oh, yeah.
Once you're here, it's kind of difficult to leave. It's a nice
Once you
place
check
to
in,
be.
you can check out.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. And then let's hear a bit about your startup. So tell us all about that.
Okay, so I mentioned that it's come from university, so it is a university spin-off. I've been first researching at the telecommunications department, different IoT connectivities, and we get to the connectivity of batteries, and that was the time when we started talking about big data and analytics of batteries, and it was already really just a step closer to some commercialization projects or some sort of trying to take technology from research to commercialization. And that's practically how we went to find the Bamamas, which practically is acronym for Battery Monitoring and Management Solution.
Okay, that's great to hear. I was talking earlier in another video about Tampere being ICT, cutting edge smart city. That's a great example of that, I think. Really nice to hear.
I think so, and we do have quite some partners in Tampere region, so I think
even
it's
better.
a strong, strong ecosystem.
That's great. And Sreejesh, please tell us a bit about your startup.
So I think I'll continue from the first question itself. So naturally, we've been doing quite a lot of work in Nokia and very specialized into manufacturing technology. And so at a point of time, we really thought about, so I'm not the only one, we have 4 co-founders together, and that was, a bounce back of question, hey, do we do something? We didn't even start the company at that point of time. We were just doing some, supporting folks and things like that. And then generally this question came up, hey, why not start something? I mean, and you'll see how it goes forward. So we took all our learnings, and that's a very niche area, I would say. And I would say Finland is like on the top list of countries which provide this kind of technology as such, automation, test automations for manufacturing. And that's when we kind of, thought about it. Hey, well, let's do software. Let's build solutions around this particular technology and bring it out to the world. So that's the starting of the point. That was in 2017.
Okay.
We actually started the company itself. We have 5 years. We completed 5 years this January.
Great.
And it's going strong.
That's terrific. Good to hear.
Yeah.
Of course, I guess along the way, there's been a few challenges for both your startups. So maybe, Sreejesh, if you could just tell us what are the key challenges that you've had to overcome?
So there's a whole lot of challenges. I mean, it's you open the challenges Pandora box, things will fly out, hit on your face, and you just move by. But I think some of the most interesting challenges that naturally for anyone who starts a startup, right? There are a lot of questions. How's it going to be? What kind of customers? Where do I fit? What do I do? And those are the general issues, and that also hit us. Even though we've been working in the industry and we know that industry pretty much, but when you start commercializing something, that's a whole different story.
Right, and of course funding, I guess that's got to be a real big challenge at the beginning.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
We were kind of, let's say it this way, that we were kind of lucky. I mean, me and Pavel, we also discussed that at some point of time, that we bootstrapped a lot, quite a bit up there.
Okay.
We had received a lot of grants. We applied for a lot of public grants. We received them, and then that plus our consultancy work kind of balanced it off, and then it gave us an opportunity to build our solution, our product as such, and so that's how it's actually working. So that's where we are.
That's terrific. And from your perspective, Pavel, how did you see the challenges with your startup?
Well, I can really relate to what Sri is saying. So it's and it boils down to a few things: where you get your first customer,
right,
and how do you fund your operation.
Yeah.
And so you usually have to start from the customers first, right? If there is no traction or no indication that your idea is viable, you have hard time to find investors or even public funding, because you practically need to write quite proper plan also for public funding.
Okay.
And so these been like a challenges which we've been facing from start.
Yeah.
What helped us in the beginning is that we went through Startup Accelerator, which helped us to kind of pour a little bit of the big picture at first of things which we maybe haven't thought, and actually for some things we weren't even like mature enough to yet understand.
Okay.
So that was helpful. It came with some initial funding as well, and that was the first part which get us going after the university spin-off.
That sounds great. So Startup Accelerator, can you just tell me a little bit about what that is?
Yeah. So Startup Accelerator is as a place where many startups meet and they participate in a similar program. In particular, I'm not sure if this is something what you guys want to hear here, but we've been participating in a Startup Accelerator in Netherlands, in Amsterdam.
Yeah.
So it's called Rockstart Smart Energy.
Right.
And it was practically really focused on the energy and tech startups. And let's say, it really opened us the perspective from not just having like a Finnish perspective or idea how is it in Finland and possibly neighborhood, but really going this like one step forward to make the bigger leap.
I think we're very happy to hear that you're looking to international markets and collaborations. That's another great thing to hear. So terrific. So that was good to hear about the support that you got. And Sreejesh, was it something similar to you, or did you have other support mechanisms there?
Of course, there's a different approach in that sense. We didn't actually go into an incubator or an accelerator program.
Okay.
We jumped on and we started building things and started talking to customers. We did the basic things.
Right.
You know, the first rule of thumb, like even probably what Pavel said, who are you going to sell this to? So start talking to them.
Yeah.
So we knew few people who would be interested, and then we started, you know, ringing up and saying, hey, you're doing something out there. You remember us? Okay, let's try to do something.
Yeah.
Can we show this to you? Can we talk about it? That's how actually we caught up. And I think that kind of worked, that, you know, the customer is the first missing jigsaw puzzle in your whole journey, I would say. Yeah. So we try to focus on the customer and then, you know, talk to them, try to understand them, and then we started building things for them. And that's how it, you know, started. But yeah, I would say an accelerator program is absolutely necessary if you don't have or do not know who that person is or who that customer is.
Yeah.
You need some support and help.
Yeah, start with the basics. That's great to hear. So you've already given us some pretty good hints and tips, but as, if I can call you this, startup gurus now, so can I call you that? So what hints and tips would you give to the audience today? So how would you suggest they start with their startups?
Pavel, you want to take that first?
Okay. Well, this is like a really tricky question. Like for myself, I haven't been thinking about it in the first place that, hey, this is really, really what I want to do when I was at university. Yeah. So it was more like an evolution of, okay, this is a research project that I can commercialize. And then is it like, so I have the opportunity and am I excited? Yes. So I think that's really important that there is a motivation. It has to be personal motivation, because otherwise you're going to give up really soon.
Yeah.
And well, after the motivation goes really quickly up, but can go really quickly down as well. So persistence is something what is needed.
Right.
As I think we all been just facing quite horrific situations just many times. And sometimes it already seemed to me that this is impossible, that cannot really go anywhere further. But it did, and I think it was about the persistence.
Okay, that's great to hear. Thank you. And from your perspective,
I would like to, you know, just catch on to the chain of thoughts that Pavel actually put there. It's absolutely true, and for that reason, you need to have support.
Right.
And that's very important. Be it your local startup ecosystem, be it your friends, your family, be it your dog, your cat, you need support. Yeah. And I'm absolutely serious about it because, you know, like Pavel said, you have a lot of ups and downs and ups and downs. You have to, if you want to be persistent in that, you have to take yourself throughout that journey, and you need all the help that you need to actually go through that. And it's absolutely important that you have that.
Okay, thank you. And one more question for both of you. So we said earlier, Tampere is a lovely city to live in. So how do you guys socialize? What do you like to do in your free time here in the city of Tampere? I hope you have some free time. So yeah.
There must be. Otherwise, I would go crazy otherwise.
That's great. Yeah.
So for me, I really like winter sports. So Tampere is a good place to be. I like cross-country skiing. There is a bunch of tracks around, and you can get some downhill as well. I'm quite nearby Tampere. But I'd say it's not the hills which you might expect to see, but you can do quite nice skiing too.
Ah, very nice. And we've got plenty of snow this winter, of course, so no shortage of that.
That's nice.
Yeah. And Sreejesh,
Yeah, so if the question was, what do you do apart from breaking your head probably 8 hours a day or 15 hours a day? Yeah. I would generally chill out with my kid. I'm a gamer. So I like playing games, online games. So it takes my mind off, because I'm actually not even playing the game. What I'm actually doing is I'm trying to create a diversion so I can be in this tri-state where I'm by myself and there's nothing around me. Probably if you call me also when I'm doing that, I wouldn't even listen. And that's actually a problem at home.
Okay, well, that sounds like a great way to relax. Great stuff. Okay, thanks again for coming to talk to us. It's really great to talk to two people who are part of the thriving startup ecosystem here. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nick.